Today we are creating 5 easy looks for your YouTube studio setup using lights. We're going to start off with only 1 light and we're going to end up with 5. I've also set up this B camera so you can see exactly what I'm doing. My name is Paul and today my hair is up slightly to the right. The cool thing about lights is that you don't have to buy all the lights at the same time. You can keep on adding lights as your wallet is growing. Now, in this first look, we are using only 1 light, and that's a Godox SL60W. I'm going to put the links in the video description. And I'm also using a huge softbox, and I'm having it as close to my face as possible so that I get a nice and soft color. Now, in my point of view, this looks kind of cool by itself. But before we add the second light, why don't we add some accent lights that you might even have in your home? Bear with me. So the cool thing about this little IKEA lamp is that it's dimmable. It gives this little glow. What if we also add like some branding? I'm gonna put my H there. If you don't have something like that, you can also use like some fairy lights, which you can hang wherever you want to. That could look quite cool in the background as well. Now let me sit down. Look number 1. I'm fairly happy with that. Let's keep on adding lights. So the second light that we are gonna add is gonna be a RGB light. I don't know which camera to look into. Now we're gonna put this Waylight RB9, place it behind me so that we can light the background. If we do something like that. Nice. So just by adding 1 light, the whole mood of the scene changes. And the cool thing about the RGB lights is that you can change the colors very easily using an app so that it can match your style. So let's just change it very quickly. Green, teal, blue, purple, red. Now, I do suggest you to get a couple of light stands. I have a cheap light stand here that serves its purpose. I mean, you can always put a furniture or something like that, but I suggest you to get a couple of light stands. Let's add light number 3. So I'm going to turn on this LED panel. You could probably use a RGB light as well, but these LED lights are so cheap that I suggest you to get one of those ones instead of like an RGB light for that. So here you now have a rim light. What that does is it separates me from the background even better than just having the blue light behind me. And also they call it sometimes hair light because it kind of replicates the sun so that you're used to seeing people with some bright spots on the heads. In my case, my hair is so messy that you probably don't see it. Let's add light number 4. Now I'm going to add a second RGB light. And what we're going to do with that, we are going to put it more or less in the height of where I'm sitting. So adding the 4th light is going to give you an even more professional look in your YouTube studio setup. Now we're starting to look cinematic. With these 4 lights, I would be satisfied with the setup, but let's see what happens if we add a 5th light. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually remove this RGB background light and I'm going to place it in a way that it hopefully hits my face a little bit and the back wall. I'm going to also move this one so it hits again my face a little bit, but I also want it to hit the wall over there. And of course you can choose whatever colors you want. Okay, I'm fairly happy with how it looks now in the background. Now I'm going to add the 5th light. Well, it's another RGB light, and this is an Aperture MC. Link in description. Now, the cool thing about this one is that it's magnetic, and I'm going to place it here because by chance, this ornament thing is magnetic. Now, why do I put it up there? Because I'm having a nice yellow light above me. So this is the 5 light setup. Okay, let's sum up what we did. The first thing we did, we added the fill light with a huge softbox on it, as close to the face as possible. Then the second light we added was the RGB light, where we had it behind me to fill up the wall with the color of your choice. Third light was the rim light to give me a nice separation from the background. Then the fourth light we added was this red pinkish RGB light that lit up my face on the bright side. And for the fifth setup, we actually moved the RGB light from the background to the left side, and we placed this RGB light up here to achieve this final look. If you found this video helpful, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Until next time, peace. In this video, I'm going to show you everything that I use in my YouTube studio setup. I'm also going to show you how I light myself, the background, and the equipment that I use is not very expensive. If this interests you, stay tuned. Let's start up with my main light, which is the Godox SL60W. I'm going to switch up all of the other lights in the studio. Studio meaning my parking. So this is my key light. So if you want to build yourself a YouTube studio setup yourself, I would start with the Godox SL60W and a huge softbox. Why? Because the huge softbox gives you a nice and even light. And I actually think that this look itself looks pretty good. The background is quite dark, but hey, maybe that's the look you are going for and you need only one light. And when you have this key light with a huge softbox, you don't even need to have another light from the other side, like a fill light, because this guy is so nice and strong, nice and even. So if you're on a budget and you get yourself this one, Bob's your uncle, one light is all you need. Pretty good. Let's see what happens when we keep on adding different lights. Oh, and by the way, most of the things that I am showing you today, I have reviewed in separate videos. So check the links below where you might find a video review of the specific product that interests you. So now let's put on this guy. Ooh, moody. Looks a bit weird when it's on only one side. So what if we put it behind me? There you go. So you can see what a huge difference just one small pocket RGB light is doing. And the cool thing about the Way light is that it's very strong and you can control it with your phone. If you want, for example, to change the color of the background, maybe your colors on YouTube or whatever it is are yellow, orange, red, purple, whatever. You can change it to whatever color you want to, and the strength as well. I'm gonna put links below for alternatives as well, because I know in some markets you might not necessarily get the products that I'm talking about, but let's see what you can find. The next light we're gonna talk about is the hair light. Check out the difference when I switch on the hair light, where you can see that this is gonna give me a nice rim light and it's gonna separate me even more from the background. Check out the difference. So there you can see, it's separating me much more now from the background. Now it's called a hair light, I'm wearing a cap. Let's see, oh my goodness. So if I'm not wearing the cap, you can definitely see why it's called a hair light, because it gives like a nice natural shine on your hair. Let's switch on this guy as well. The other LED panel. The LED panels that I have are bicolor, meaning that you can change them from daylight color or tungsten. So right now, the light shining behind me is set on tungsten color, which is like a yellow light, because the other lights, like the key light and the hair light, they are both set on daylight, and the camera's daylight balanced as well. So if you then put a tungsten light in a daylight setup, it's gonna appear yellow. The links that I have put for these guys below the video are not the exact ones that I am using, because mine are too old. I have found some lights which are even better than the ones that I have, because they are also RGB lights, meaning that you can even change the color of your LED panels. I bought them because you can attach batteries to them in case you need to shoot something outdoors, which was the main reason that I bought these lights, and they're also quite strong. So here we have the two LED panels. This guy up there as my hair light. And the other LED panel I'm using for my backdrop right now. To get good audio, you need to have an external microphone, because the camera microphone is not close to you and the sound quality is going to be quite bad as well. So you need to get yourself a proper video mic. In my case, I am using the Rode NTG4 Plus. The reason I got that microphone is because it is rechargeable. It comes with a lithium battery and it lasts for 150 hours. I have connected my microphone to this Zoom H4n recorder, which I've used for years. There is a new version now of this one. And the reason why I have to use an external audio recorder is because on the camera there is no XLR input, meaning that I cannot connect my microphone directly to the camera. If you want to have a microphone that connects directly to your camera, you could check out the Rode VideoMic Go or Pro, because the connection there is mini jack, meaning that you can connect the microphone directly to the camera, so you don't have to sync the audio and video in post-production. However, if the microphone is always on the camera, it might be a bit too far away from you, so that's something to keep in mind. You might have to be close to get a nice clear audio. If you want to do like a lot of YouTubers are doing, especially when they start out, is actually to get yourself a lav mic. The first lav mic that I got was the Rode SmartLav Plus. This one you just connect to your phone and you stick this guy onto your subject like that. Try to hide the cable a little bit. The audio quality is very good from this lav mic. I have used it for YouTube videos, I have used it for interviews, and it has never failed me. It's very good and it's always very nice and close to the subject talking. But then again, you do need to sync the audio and video in post-production, but at least you get very good audio. So it is worth that extra step that you have to take to sync the audio and video. I prefer to use video tripods. That's because I use a heavy camera with a big lens on it. You don't need to have a video tripod, but the cool thing is that it's also making very fluid, smooth movements when you use it, compared to a photography tripod, which is not necessarily made to have fluid movements because you're taking a picture which is still. So if you need a tripod, I would suggest you to get a video tripod, and one that goes high enough in case you're tall like me. My camera is a Canon 1DX Mark II, which is now kind of dated. And it's very expensive because I do use my camera for professional work. If I had to choose a new camera which is very similar to this one, I would probably go for the Canon R5 or R6. But these cameras are very expensive. You do not need to start out with a very expensive camera. In my opinion, it's actually more important to have good lighting than a good camera, because these days your smartphones, iPhones, Androids, whatever you have, are pretty good. In a YouTube setup, you should use a monitor, even if your camera has an LCD screen that you can flip around. My camera hasn't got one, but even if it did have an LCD screen that I could flip around, it is much better to view yourself on a bigger monitor. So I am using this Lilliput A7S, which is nice and bright, nice and big, 7 inches. You can power it with a battery, which is awesome. And in this YouTube setup, I usually use the power cable so that the battery never runs out. But at least you have the option, which is very helpful if you're outdoors, for example. So in case you don't have a room that you necessarily want to show, get yourself a backdrop. I do recommend you not using fabric background because they will get creases after a while and they're next to impossible to iron. So I prefer using paper backdrop with a tripod support system. It's easy to roll together, it's easy to store. So if you felt that you got any good tips in this video, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one, consider subscribing. Stay healthy and stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Can you hear the kids? The kids are playing PlayStation. Kids! So if the kids are quiet, I'm going to show you how you can easily transform a boring looking YouTube studio into a nice cinematic looking one, only using a couple of lights. I've set up a B camera as well so that you can follow along and see where exactly I am putting the different lights and light stands. So let's start off with the first look. So here you have the lighting setup using only the main light. So this is a main light with a huge softbox on it. And the reason that I'm using a huge softbox is that it gives you a nice even light. The shadows are relatively soft compared to if you just remove that light. Now pay attention here that I have this kind of triangle, which is called the Rembrandt look or lighting, which is very cinematic. You've seen that in many Hollywood movies and movies or TV shows in general. Now, to separate me a bit more from the background, let's switch on a hair light or rim light. Now, I have set up two lights here because you do have the option of having a spotlight as well. Now, but what you can see what that one is doing, it does separate me very well from the background, but I think the room in general becomes a bit too bright. But let's continue to add some lights as well. You might go for this cinematic darker look. I like it. Let's add a fill light on this side. So I'm basically using a small pocket RGB light. And there you go. So now I'm not that dark on the left side, your right side. So this is a classic setup, 3-point lights. Now, if you want to have the background a bit darker, let's change the spotlight, the rim light over here, to a pocket RGB light. And there you can see the difference. It's not that powerful and the background stays nice and dark as well. But I still have some of that rim light effect that we want. And you can of course adjust that one to be brighter or weaker according to your needs. Next look. Now, the next look is a very classic one from Hollywood movies and TV shows. It's a good old-fashioned orange and teal. Now, by just adding this pocket RGB light, you have the classic orange and teal look. It's called orange and teal basically because you have the skin tone, which is more or less orange, and the background, which is a teal, like a blue-greenish hue. You can never go wrong with this look. Oh, and I forgot to say that when you set up your camera, try to look for some leading lines. Like you can see now that I have these frames that are all pointing towards me, so that your eyes will automatically go towards the subject talking, in this case, me. But if you only have the main light, let's switch off this little guy for the moment. And what if you just use a big old reflector without width? So you can see that if you have one powerful light as the key light, you can bounce it off a reflector, so you don't need to have two lights. Before? No, after and before. Let's do a cinematic Marvel Star Wars kind of look. Now what we're gonna do here, we're gonna put this guy over on the left side, change the color to a pinkish one. And I should have thought this through. Where's the other one? Well, let's just use this one. And let's put this one on blue. Get them close. So this is very good if you are using, if you're doing like maybe a gaming channel or tech review channel. You can also switch on a hair light, because now it's way too dark. Look at that. I like it. Orange and blue. I mean, you choose whatever you want to. Or you can use one if you only want to use one. Still works, you know. I mean, as long as you have some color in the face, it immediately becomes a little bit more cinematic than what you're used to see on a YouTube channel. Now, let's have a look at how this scene would be using only the lights that I have in my living room. Switch everything off. Let's use this one in the background, and we have this light. Switch off this guy, oh my, and we have to turn up the ISO significantly. So after changing the white balance on the main camera, this is more or less the look you have. Maybe this is something that you are used to shooting, the glow from your screen maybe. I mean, it just doesn't look as cinematic or professional for that matter. I don't like this look. Let's change it very fast. Now, a technical power tip here is if you are struggling to get the background dark. Make sure that you draw the curtains, put the main light as close to you as possible, and lower the ISO on your camera to maybe 200 so that the main light lights you while the background stays as dark as possible. If you're still struggling to get a nice cinematic look at home, make sure that you subscribe, because I will do a color correction for YouTube videos at home, so that might even help you out further in getting a nice cinematic look at home. Until next time, my name is Paul and I am signing off. Peace. Waylight sent me these K21 light sticks to review. Instead of going too much into technical details of the light, I think it's more useful for you to see how you can use them. So I have created a short segment of a music video in my garage. I have also set up a B camera so that you can see everything that I'm doing, where I'm putting the lights, what lights that I'm using in every example. Let's have a look at me pretending to rap.
Tryna play me, they ain't know no better. Perp on me, you can call me Chris Webber. Brand new whip with the brand new leather. And now I made plays, yeah. We all look jealous.
Staying high with the mace, tipping wine to the face. Drown hit me from the door, it's a line at the place. I'm at home in the mitten, I got ties in LA. I probably pull a packed crowd in a flyover stage.
Now, obviously, I did not write or produce this rap song. I found it on Artlist. This video is not sponsored by Artlist, but if you want to check them out, link below. And if you sign up, you get 2 months for free. That came too late. Peace. So in this first shot, I am going to connect this Waylight 200 to get a cool rim light. Make sure the light is more or less above me. Oh, and I want this light to be slightly behind me as well. Let's put on the sunglasses and have a look at the framing. Try to make sure that the Waylights, the K21s, are the same height, so you get a similar reflection. And also we're going to set them on the same brightness. We need a lot of smoke for this one. And even put them closer together, a bit further down, so I get the reflection when I'm looking into the camera. I love this look. And when this smoke disappears, you start to get this cone, which works really well. Next shot. In this next shot is very similar to the first one. However, we are going to change the K21s to a different color. Let's put it to an orange one, and the right one, your left, green. Put them a bit to the sides so I get a bit more mystic look. But if I put it too far back, I'm getting too dark in my face. So let's leave it here so you can see my face properly. Let's go to the next one. Put them just behind me. Obviously you can have whatever color you want to here, but in this specific shot, I wanted it to be white. And they are set at 5200 Kelvin daylight. Now you can see that I don't have enough light on my face in this specific shot. So I'm going to switch on a small pocket RGB light. Let's change it from blue to daylight. I put it at more or less 45 degrees from my face, and also a bit higher than my face. And depending on where I stand, the light and shadows change. In this shot, I have placed the Waylight just off the camera, pretty close to my face, and I have the other Waylight up here above me, so it gives me a nice rim light. Here you can see with and without the light. And let's change the color. We want that one to be a bit purpley. And let's change the other Waylight to a greenish one. There we go. That's a bit too green. Let's put a, there we go. Depending on where I look, it looks like there's 2 lights. There's only 1 light. Now, I did try a 5th look, but it didn't work out. And the reason is that they are actually not very bright. So what I tried to do here was to light up the background. I had to push the ISO really high up, and the whole room started to get bright. They're not going to light a big surface, but that's okay, because you will use other lights for lighting up the background. For example, a couple of pocket RGB lights. One cool thing about the Waylights is that they are also magnetic on each side, so that you can find a metal surface and cling it on there, which can be quite helpful. Furthermore, they are also with these 1/4" threads, so you can put mini tripods on them, or you can put them on light stands in general. There are 1/4" holes on each side, so you can actually connect many Waylight K21s together to get a longer one. Why not? You can also control the lights using their app. Beep. And if you group them together, you can switch them all on and off. There are effects built into them, like cop car. I think this is the effect we are looking for. No, that's only red. Why is it only red? I want blue as well. Well, there's many other effects as well. One thing that I have noticed that the app and the Waylight K21s, they are not really in sync. What I have on my app here is not exactly the effect that comes out. Now I have put this on blue light, and obviously this is more like an alarm thing, but I'm sure that's gonna be fixed and updated in the future. If you go and physically touch the buttons and the menu on the Waylight itself, then you will actually see the effect that it produces. I'm getting dizzy. That's it. If you like this video, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Until next time, this is Paul signing off. Good night. Hello there. I have so many questions on YouTube asking me, how do you actually light your YouTube videos? And in this video, we're gonna have a look at my new setup. And I'm also gonna let you know exactly what lights that I'm using. My name is Paul, and this is the way. This video is sponsored by Artlist. Stick around until the end to find out how you can get 2 months for free when you sign up for the yearly subscription. So let's just start off with my main light, which is a Waylight Ninja 400 with a huge softbox, which you might have seen in some of my other videos, but this is the key light that I'm using in every video that I'm making. Now let's just start adding lights. Today we're gonna add many. You don't have to add all of the lights that I'm adding, but I mean, adding more lights is just fun. Let's add this guy. So the next light that I'm gonna add is gonna be my rim light, or also known as key light. Here you go. I look like Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
21 gigawatts!
Nice. So now you can see that I'm separated a little bit better from the background because I've got that lovely glow on my wild hair. Wild. I didn't say white hair. Oh, I forgot to tell you what. The key light that I'm using is another light from Waylight, and this guy is a Ninja 200. It's very, very powerful. You don't need to have that exact light. You could also use a Ninja 200, which is perfect for a rim light or hair light. All the links are gonna be in the description. The next light we're gonna add is a Sokani X60 RGB. And as the name says, it's a RGB light. So in this case, you can choose the background color, what you want. I have chosen this kind of bluish teal because it makes my skin pop a little bit better. So this could be a complete setup, but I like to add more lights because I like to play. Let's add the accent lights. Let's start off with these little small light tubes, also from Waylight, not sponsored by Waylight. These are Waylight K21, and they are perfect for accent lights because the battery lasts for days or weeks if you put them on low intensity. And what this does is basically that it just gives kind of a different mood in the background. Where are you? This light is pointing towards my face, and this light is just to fill up the frame. Oh, let's add some branding. If you are looking for music or sound effects for your videos, you have to check out today's sponsor, Artlist. On Artlist, you can find tens of thousands of extremely high quality music and sound effects. If you only have your channel being on TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, you can sign up for their personal plan and pay on a monthly basis. You can download as much music as you want to. Your videos that you have posted while having an active subscription is going to be licensed forever. If you have more than one channel, or maybe you have clients, you can check out their unlimited plan. You can download as much music and sound effects as you want to. You can even use them in future videos. Your license covers your videos forever. What? If you use my link below, you're gonna get 2 months for free if you sign up for the annual plan. Check them out. Let's continue lighting. I've got this H from like a hardware store. No link, but it still looks good. Okay, now let's add some pocket RGB lights. I'm gonna add 2 pocket RGB lights here. This one hidden behind the sofa, well, the armchair. This is a Atom Cube RX7. It doesn't matter exactly what kind of pocket light you're using because the intensity is quite low. So you can use the Atom Cube, you can use Aperture MC, which I'm going to switch off shortly, or another way light if you want to. So here I have a Aperture MC, also set to a reddish tone. I have two cameras here set up. So what I'm going to do now for the B camera, I'm going to add another pocket RGB light, which is all the way over here at the end of the hallway. And this is a Waylight RB9. Bestseller, fantastic light. It's even better now than it used to be because now you can use the light while it's on and power it with a power cable so that you can use it for hours at a time. Is there anything else? Ooh. Last light, another pocket RGB light, Moment MLX. And this light just gives me a kind of a hue, a like greenish blue hue on the side of my face. So it just becomes a little bit more cinematic, which I love. So the reason why I chose this blue, green, teal background, both in the hallway on my face and in the background, is because it's a complementary color to my skin. So my skin pops out much more than if I had used, for example, a yellow or a complete red light. I would look very strange. So that's why the teal color works perfectly well with any kind of skin. If you like this video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. It really helps out. Until next time, my name is Paul, and this is the way. In this video, we are going from this to this. It's very easy to do. You can do this at home, so stay tuned. Hey, how's it going? So, this has been my backdrop for maybe a couple of months or a bit longer, and I'm not very proud of it. The thing is that I'm in my garage and I am in the process of rebuilding this garage into a full-blown YouTube studio, but it's just taking too long time. It's taking longer than I expected. I have a carpenter friend of mine who was supposed to help me out, but he's very busy. So in the meanwhile, I was thinking, instead of having this kind of sad backdrop, I was thinking, okay, I've got this old green screen lying about, so let's make it into a virtual YouTube studio instead. Now, you might have a similar situation, that you have a spare bedroom or a garage like me, but you don't really want to either spend the money on rebuilding it into a YouTube studio, so get yourself a green screen and you're good to go. Now, I do recommend using a paper background instead of a like these kind of fabrics that you have, because they get creases all the time and it's just not going to work as easily as paper. Before we put the green screen down, we are using today a iFootage key light with a huge softbox attached to it, also from iFootage, and I'm using a small pocket LED light from Xiaoyun M40 Ray as a kind of a fill light. But let's start making this into a virtual set instead. So these kind of backdrops you can get from all the kind of places that sells photography, video equipment. It's not very expensive. I have just attached it to my wall, but you can get stands for it as well. I think that you can get a stand for about $100, and the backdrop as well is going to set you back about $100 as well, but relatively speaking, it is not too expensive. Now I haven't lit this this green screen, as obviously we need to do. I tried some different kind of methods to light it as you would usually do, like from the sides, so that the green screen is evenly lit, but I found that I've got this huge LED panel. I mean, this is a monster. This is from GVM, and it's an RGB light as well. So instead of just putting it on normal daylight or possibly well, whatever light, as it's a RGB light, you can also put green. So I was thinking, how is that gonna look like? check this out. I mean, my whole room looks like it's green. Oh, I'm looking at myself on the monitor in case you're checking out the B camera. And you're probably gonna also see this microphone. That is what I usually use. But as I'm walking around in this video, I have attached a lav mic. If you're interested, all the equipment that I'm using, I'm gonna put links to in the description. Now we have set up this green, nice background. I mean, you don't have to have a huge, expensive LED panel like that one. If you have a RGB light, like the Saucony light that I have reviewed, you can use that one as well, but remove the cone from it so that it doesn't become a spotlight, but it lights the room more evenly. Let's have a look at where I actually found the image that I'm going to use in the backdrop for this video. Cotton mouth. Bubbly. So the image, I found it on Motion Array because they just added images and graphic files as well, like for Photoshop and Illustrator, I believe. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna check that out. Since this background is not gonna be my final one, I'm not gonna put like, oh, this is a nice background. It looks like you're in the living room. I'm gonna go all the way and it's gonna look over the top, but I kind of like it. I found this kind of futuristic looking living room and I thought that looks kind of cool. So I'm gonna use that one. Let's put it behind me and see what happens. So this is how you would maybe light it up if you're starting out, and it looks okay, but there are levels that you have to add to make it look even better. I did flip the image around because I have my key light over here, and that was kind of replicating the light shining through that window. In this image that I have used, you can see that there's like a quite strong orange light coming from this side of the image. I have set up here a couple of pocket RGB lights, and you might see it over there in the B camera. But if we switch on this orange light, you can already see on my mouse and desk here that I have some orange spill from the RGB. That looks like it might come from that light in the image. You can see it here. Now, you can also see up there are some teal light. Let's do the same. Let's switch on another pocket RGB light. And that kind of replicates that light in the ceiling. Now, to separate me a little bit more from the background, I found that I need to have a rim light or a hair light. So I just attached this little light tube. I have a fluorescent light up there, but of course that color is wrong. So since this is magnetic, I found that I can just click it on, attach it. And you can now see that I have this shine that could replicate a little bit the light from the living room, the living room window, but it also just looks a little bit more professional. So this is the footage before it's color graded. I have maybe changed the curves a bit. I have blurred out the background a little bit so it looks a little bit more realistic. And on top of both layers, both myself and the background layer, I have put one of my cinematic LUTs so that I blend in a little bit better in that scene. And to add the little extra spice on top of everything, since I don't have time to use Fusion or After Effects or stuff like that, I just created this kind of fake light wrap. You can see it on my shoulder over here, maybe a little bit on this one as well. It just makes it look a little bit more realistic. So to finish up, if you want to make your green screen, your virtual sets look more realistic, add a couple of RGB lights in your scene, because that is going to separate you from the amateurs with the professionals, just like I did with only those two lights over there. It makes the whole difference in a green screen setup. To remove the green screen, that's a whole video for itself. You can remove green screen or chroma in general using Final Cut Pro, Premiere Pro, DaVinci as I'm using. The process is very similar. If you are not using green screen in your setup, check out this video right here where I have multiple scenarios where you can light your YouTube videos in your living room or bedroom or wherever you are filming. Check it out. Peace. Today I'm going to show you my iPhone 15 Pro Max YouTube Studio setup. I'm going to show you what lights I'm using, my preferred iPhone settings, and of course what microphone and gear I'm using in general. So let's start off with the lights. My key light is an iFootage 220DN with a very big softbox on it. And that big softbox gives me a really nice and even light. However, the DN220 is now set to only 5%, so it is a very strong light because I do use that for some professional work as well. Alternatively, I would recommend you the smaller one, the SL160DN. And if you don't have space for a huge softbox, you can also get yourself a smaller one. And that one works really well with the smaller light as well. Now, you might ask what this is. This is a handle that you can buy apart, and you can connect a V-mount battery to it. So if I want to put that over there, I don't even need to plug it in because it's powered by the battery. Cool. In the background, I've got 3 lights, and they are all from a brand called Waylight. The light sticks are called K21, and I have a smaller RGB light called RB9. I'm going to, of course, link all the lights and everything that I'm using below this video. The cool thing about these lights is that it works with a remote control. You can also group them if you want to. So now I have grouped together the light sticks where I can control, for example, the intensity. I can change the color if I suddenly want to change the look of my background. And these lights are RGB, so I can choose whatever color I want to. As you can see, red, green, blue, purple. It's going to really match your channel and the colors that you might be using. And another cool thing about the K21 light sticks is that they are very light. You can put them on a simple, cheap light stand and move them about if you want that. Here you have the size. If you have a shelf in the background, maybe you want to put them in the shelf horizontally. Cool. And down here you can see the RB9 from Waylight, and I can control that one as well as I want to. I just choose the group and I can control intensity, and this is also an RGB light, meaning I can choose whatever color I wish in case I decide to change my backdrop. And that is something that I'd like to do because I'm bored of having the same lights all the time. So this is a very cheap alternative if you want to quickly change your backdrop. You might have to buy this remote apart, but it's about $15 or $16, and I do recommend adding this one because it is really easy to control them with the remote controller. If I was not filming with my iPhone 15 Pro Max, I would be able to control the lights with my phone as well. So if you have a normal camera, you can also control these lights with your phone. Now, hair light. Up here I have mounted a small aperture MC light, and that just gives me that final hair light. As you can see here, that is something that we're very used to seeing because we are used to being in offices or in the sun. We're used to seeing some dash of light in your hair, and that's why it's called hair light or rim light, because it also separates me a bit better from the background. This little aperture MC light is magnetic, which is very cool because I have it now mounted where a light tube is supposed to be. However, the house lights, to put it like that, they are not really good for photography or filming because they might flicker. The color is a little bit ugly maybe. Now, these Waylight K21 light sticks are also magnetic, so I wish that I had a third one because then I could just stick it up there and control all of my lights with one app. I'm not using the built-in camera app on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that's because I can't really adjust the camera settings. So I am using a free app called Blackmagic Cam, where you can then choose all the settings you want to. So if you're used to working with a more professional camera, I do recommend downloading that app because you can control whatever you want to. I am going to make a video about the differences of the built-in camera app and the Blackmagic Cam as well. So that's going to be out in a couple of days. If it's already out, check it out right here. So since the iPhone 15 Pro Max has now finally got a USB port, I do have a problem because I have no microphones or anything that I can connect directly to that phone, because all of my microphones are using a normal, let's see, 3.5 jack cable, which we are used to, you know. Of course, I can connect that. However, I found a brand which is called Ugreen. So I connected my Polyland Lark 150 and this Sennheiser microphone as well. This Ugreen adapter works. The built-in camera app is fantastic. It works really great. However, the quality is a little bit low. You can put it to ProRes 422 HQ, and that is a very, very big file size, and you might fill up your phone very quickly in case you film longer videos. Using the Blackmagic Cam app, you can also film in Apple ProRes 422 HQ. However, you also have other codecs which are a little bit smaller, still ProRes. So I have found the ProRes 422 not HQ to be the most efficient for my workflow. I can choose to film also in log with both the built-in camera app or the Blackmagic app as well. However, what I've seen with all of the different modes that you can film in using the built-in camera application is that the skin tone is very bright, it's very orange, and it smooths your skin out, keeping your eyes very clear, which is good in a way. However, if you want to control it more, you do need to use that app that I'm talking about, because the colors are a little bit more natural even when using log. Another great thing using an iPhone 15 Pro Max is that once you're done filming, choose the files that you want to transfer to your computer, put AirDrop, and you're good to go. Of course, if you're using an Apple computer. I have it now connected to a I just invented a setup, but you should get yourself a small kind of stand for your iPhone 15 Pro Max. But just make sure that this adapter has like a cold shoe, meaning that you can connect, for example, this microphone. And I know that some of you guys are going to talk about the file size. You can record to an external SSD drive if you plan on shooting longer videos. Even though my phone has only got 256 gigabytes, filming in Apple ProRes using the Blackmagic app, I can really see that that is enough for my usage. So it is fantastic to use the iPhone 15 Pro Max as a YouTube camera. Quality-wise, the cinematic mode, if you want to beautify your face a little bit, you can do that if you want to. I'm gonna make a video about all the different video codecs that you can have from the iPhone 15 Pro Max, both using the built-in camera app and the Blackmagic camera app as well. You can check it out here if it's already out. If not, check out another video that YouTube has recommended from my channel. Hope this video helped you. See you in the next one. Peace.